Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review we're going to be looking at the Studio Series number 100. This is Bumblebee from the Rise of the Beasts movie. So what we're going to do with this video, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We'll have a detailed look at him in both of his modes to help you decide how you want to display him. Because he's a Bumblebee movie figure, we can obviously do some comparisons with him and some other Bumblebee movie figures, but because he's a Rise of the Beasts figure, we're going to see how he looks, scales, and indeed does display with some of the other Rise of the Beasts figures that have been released already. So as I start to pop these back, I'd like to remind anybody who's not subscribed to this channel, if they'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now, please, because it really will help me out. And the other thing is I need to thank Robot Recruits, the online UK retailer, which is where I purchased this figure from. So I've already had him out of the box to have a little bit of a play with, but we might as well start off by looking at it. And again, this is the actual, I believe it to be obviously, screen image of what he's going to look like. We've seen some images of him in the trailer, but this is the image that was leaked ages ago that's on pajamas and all that sort of stuff. We've got a close-up there of the face and indeed the sort of bust of Bumblebee himself, and indeed there it is, much better on that side. And on the back we've got, of course, the fact that it's a licensed GM vehicle. There's only one thing that I'm noticing straight away is that the windows aren't black, they are actually translucent, but we can see that in more detail now. So as I said, I've already had a quick look at him, as in just to set him free to make this quick and easier for you guys. So the accessories that come with him, he's got two. I'll show you them in a second. We've got the volcano backdrop there, and indeed part of it. Now when he came, he was just literally attached like that, but as I say, I've took that off just to make the video go out a little bit quicker. So first impressions, I actually do really like this. I've got to confess, when I saw him and when I saw that he was number one, and I saw the, just the way he looked, I was a little bit disappointed. I was hoping for perhaps a little bit more something special for number 100, but I suppose it really had to be Bumblebee because obviously what he's done for the movie franchise over the last 15 years is just, to say he's helped it would be a bit of an understatement. But this figure itself is great. It's a completely different mold. If I'm going to be negative, it's only on two small things. In fact, one small thing on Robot and another thing on the alternates. Now, the first thing in Robot is just the lack of paint apps. There's not much going on there at all. You'll see what I mean. There's just a little bit over the mouse plate and the two bits on the side, whereas if we just show you this one here, look at the difference in the paint apps on there. I mean, they've even missed out the Autobot logo on the front of his head, so that's a little bit negative, let's be honest. But the rest of it, it looks good, it feels sturdy. There's lots of details like there on the shoulder, lots of, I suppose, motorized looking parts, and there's a lot less leg kibble. Yeah, there's still some leg kibble, but again, compared to the last few versions that we've had, the Cybertronian mode, the obviously off-road mode from the Bumblebee movie, there was quite a lot of leg kibble, and this is much easier to maintain and manage. We've got great detail there in at the waist. So let's start off with articulation. You can see that the head will go all the way around. It's on a mushroom peg, so up and down, side to side. Arms are on huge ball and sockets, but they will also go around out to the side. There, you can see in there. And these do feel, as I say, really kind of stiff. You've got a bicep swivel as well as a flexion. And indeed, maybe the same with the paint apps on the face. There's a little bit maybe missing there round for the hands, but of course it is a deluxe scale figure and size, so perhaps I'm being a little bit too picky. There is a waist, as you can see there, swivel. You can tell by how you're looking at it. Once again, huge ball and socket joints for the hips. There is a knee bend, and again you can see that really clunks in and out, but then even the detail there on the inside of the knee is great. Lots of mechanical looking parts. The ankle will pivot side to side, but it won't tilt, and that's just because of the new transformation. You can see that there's no opportunity at all for it to tilt, but still, again, that doesn't take too much away from it. And as I say, standing like that, I think it looks great. The accessories are his usual ones of this little gun here. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is they probably should have just cast it all in this colour rather than yellow and paint it, because it just looks really untidy. See how we've got the paint splodges there, and again, I'm just being overly picky, but I'm just showing you. You can see there where it's gone down. I'll connect it all. In fact, we might as well do this, so let's connect him up right now. That'll fit over the forearm, which indeed looks great, but we've got the addition let me just bring this down then if we're going to carry on, of his blade, which there's no actual 5mm port, but you can see on the side of his forearms that you can just attach this very simply there as well, which also means then of course that you can attach or give him more accessories, shall we say, because his fists obviously are still open. Again, that's without going overly, overly posing. A, because I'm not that good at it, and B, because you don't really need to. I think it looks good. It looks better in person than I admit that I thought the images looked. I gave this quite a bit of negativity when I first saw it because I just thought, again, they could have done something better. With regards to these scenes, again, I see why they do them. I just don't get it. I'd rather they spent the money maybe on another accessory or something else. That doesn't look too bad though. But again, I'd like people to leave me a note in the comments if you actually do use these. It'd be interesting as well just to maybe do a survey, see who actually does use them. So as I mentioned, let me just turn that away because of the glare. You can see on the back of this that we've got the black windows. Now you can't because it's nowhere near where I'm pointing. There's the black windows on there, and there's a different, I suppose, sort of paint apps on there, whereas this is translucent, but it's better. And it also means that they are completely separate as well. So these are additional pieces of plastic, and from the back, there's nowhere near, as I say, as much kibble as there are on some of the rest. It all sort of, you can see there from the side, cascades and folds under itself really, really neatly. Let's do some more comparisons and stuff then while we're here. So I say this is B127, but this is his Earth mode, and he's pretty much about the same height. Let's see if I can get him to stand up next to him. There you go. Let's just do some normal. What I mean by normal is mainline figures. So there's a core class figure. Yes, it's Grimlock. I know someone's going to comment on that, but that's just because he's always at hand. Here's a normal mainline deluxe figure, Shrapnel. And again, he is quite a bit smaller, but that's the way he sort of should be. Bumblebee shouldn't be a huge sort of character. With regards to some third-party figures, before we do some more Rise of the Beasts, I nearly said Magic Square, but it's not. This is New Age's Optimus Prime, which is David, and that is Magic Square's Trailbreaker. I can't think what they call him, Trailblazer maybe. But either way, so he's about the same height as a Legends scale figure from third-party companies. If you collect G1 and you're wondering how big he is, here is a Hot Rod. So again, quite a bit smaller than that particular figure. And if you've brought a few of the other Rise of the Beast figures, like the cheaper ones, like the Weaponizers, here he is next to the Optimus Primal. But let's do some of these figures, which is exactly why we've got these here. So although this isn't the Studio Series, it still scales really well. I'm sure you'll agree that Optimus Prime does scale really well with that Bumblebee. This is, of course, Studio Series Deluxe Air Razor, and she's in a different league compared with what I would say with regards to size, paint apps, and pretty much everything. It's quite hard to believe that these two are same price range, same packaging. She's, as I say, different league. Totally amazing figure. Even though I do like this, I don't want to detract anything from Bumblebee. I just think, and I'm sure you'll agree, if you've seen the Air Razor review, she's just something really special for where she is. Here is, of course, Voyager class Cheetor. So in fact, I'm just going to move Optimus Prime out of the way for now because he's not a Studio Series version. So that's the Studio Series Autobots I've got so far. Tell a lie. No, it's not. There's the Autobots Studio Series I've got for now. And then we can also bring in, he's probably going to tower over the back. There is, of course, Battletrap. So I still haven't got Scourge, unfortunately, but what I'm going to do now very quickly then is just bring in some of the main lines. I'll bring Optimus Prime back in, and then I'll bring in the main line Air Razor, so you can see how he looks compared to these again. And he looks great, he really does. One other quick thing to show you before I just go on to the alternate mode, and that is that if you didn't want to have these accessories in his hands, but you didn't want to put them back in the box, and you still wanted to be able to, I suppose, keep the figure with these on him or in his possession, shall we say, there are two cutouts or places on the back of this. So you've got that large cutout there, which is where you can, I'm pretty sure that that's, I've got it the other way around, haven't I? I've not done this yet. You can tell I've not done this yet. I'm going to attach this way. I'm sure you can go sideways as well, to be honest. I know that you can connect both of these to the back. Maybe that's going to go there. I should check the instructions out. You know what? I'm going to check the instructions out and come straight back to you, showing you exactly. In fact, yeah, There we go. Now, is that going to go there? Let's have a look while we're here of how they go on. Because I think I should show you. No, they do. They go the way that I had them. I thought that they would be hidden. But they do. They literally just attach the way that I was showing you. So with this there, I thought they tucked away much neater, but they don't. That just slots in there. And then indeed that just attaches over there. I thought they were concealed and indeed hidden by the doors. So now that I do know that, it's, no, don't really like that. Anyway, let's have a look at him in his alternate mode. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, he's already in his alternate mode. Quick apologies, no transformation process on this video. Main reason for that is to keep the length of the video down, but the second is not to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want it spoiling for themselves. However, there will be a separate tutorial video uploaded. If you want to watch that, it'll show you in detail how to transform him. And to be honest, the alternate mode isn't too bad, but I've got to be honest, and again, you'll know straight away as soon as I do this, that's the main reason why I don't want to say didn't like, that's probably too, why I was really, I suppose, disappointed is probably a better word with this figure. That's, for me, it's nearly as bad as, you know, Trail Breakers and Hoists from the Earthrise. I just think that perhaps, I don't know, I'm not obviously a Hasbro engineer or designer, but maybe if they could have just folded something up, or this could have slotted down or be just disguised just a fraction more. Even if they just made this come down, you know, a couple of millimeters or something, it really wouldn't be as obvious as there's some robot fists underneath the car, and that's as far as you can push it. You can't push them any further. However, saying that again, and I always sort of say this with everything, it is on the underside, so it could be far worse. I mean, if you've got it at an angle like that, it's not too bad. From the side, it is always the worst. From the front, you can't tell, and indeed from the back, you can't tell. But I think that the biggest get out of jail with this will be exactly that it's not going to ever be displayed in this mode. I mean, unless you're a bit like myself and you maybe do multiple displays. Again, there's the display with the backdrop there. Sort of works, doesn't really, I suppose, especially not in this particular mode. But as you can see, the wheels still go around. These do pop off, in fact, rather easily as well, but that's not a problem. Maybe with it being a studio series, could have had some detail of the alloy in the middle perhaps. As everything else though seems okay. You know, the best thing about this is the color matching. Even though of course you've got the different parts, they look pretty much uniform, all the same color. If I want to be overly critical and picky, this is perhaps just a tiny difference, but otherwise that's only because I'm really looking for it. The rest of these match really well. With regards to the accessories, if you want to, on the underside here, you can keep this will slot in there, and then there's a cutout sort of there you can make out in the bumper, and then indeed this as well will slot over that way, or indeed this way, or even above it, however you want to do it. But again, none of which I really like, to be honest. I did prefer in the other ones where you could sort of hide it down there. Yeah, as I say, I am perhaps being a bit overcritical with it in this particular mode, but the good thing is, as I say, that I'm going to be displaying him in his robot because I'm a big fan of how he looks in that robot mode. Yeah, as I say, he's not a bad size. Again, with regards to some of the other figures that we've got that I suppose you could be displaying him with, he fits that quite well. And indeed, if we to have a look at some mainstream figures, I've got a Legacy Evolution Prowl figure here, so he's about the same size as that, obviously not as high, even though it's a motorbike obviously, but otherwise just I suppose what you'd expect from your standard Hasbro Deluxe Studio Series vehicle. Not a bad figure at all. Much prefer him in the robot mode. Let's have a quick look at him back in there. So just very quickly at the end then, another quick look at him in his way better mode, which is of course the alternate mode. And again, this is exactly the way I'm going to be displaying him. I'm also just showing you here that you can move the front parts around as well to your liking. You can have them up and down. But yeah, this is it. This is how I'm going to be displaying him. Let me know what you think of him in the comments, guys. And of course, take care.